right, everybody. We're back here on Picking Winners. We got a great NFC Central matchup. And look who's joined us, an NFC Central kind of guy. Our good friend, Bill Gray, has joined us to pick some winners.
Good to be here. Thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks for coming by, Bill Gray. All right, Bill Gray is here to pick some winners. He has a vested interest in our first game on Sunday, an NFC Central clash, old-timey divisional rivals. The Chicago Bears and Soldier Field host Aaron Rodgers, the discount double checker, and the Green Bay Packers for a big NFC Central clash. These two teams are at a crossroads. The Green Bay Packers, I believe, they're what, 2-1 right now?
1-2.
1-2. Both teams are 1-2 right now.
1-2.
No, the Bears are 2-1. The Packers are 1-2.
Yep.
So each team wants to show that they are the best team in the NFC Central. Will doesn't think either of them will be the best team in the NFC Central. But it's going to be a very interesting matchup. Bears coming off the big Monday Night Football win against the New York Jets. Packers coming off a loss against, who did they lose to?
Lions.
The Lions at Ford Field.
This is Detroit Billy.
This is our Detroit Billy. Billy Green is here. So in this game, Green Bay at Chicago, I think it's going to be a little bit of an upset. I think I think there's no way that the Green Bay Packers are going to want to start 1-3. That's the city. They've got nothing else to do, Green Bay, except for play football.
Eat cheese.
Eat cheese.
Ice fishing later on.
Ice fishing in 2 months. But I think they're not going to want to lose 2 games on the road to their rivals in a row. I think Green Bay, I think Aaron Rodgers, he checks his insurance policy, and he gets a last-minute victory over the Chicago Bears. What do you say, Joe?
I got to disagree with you on this one. I think that the Chicago Bears are going to beat Mr. Double Check because I think the spirit of Brian Urlacher is in the Bears defense right now. God rest his soul. And I feel like they had the upset where they lost against the Bills earlier in the season, and none of us called that. None of us thought that they were going to lose at home to the Buffalo Bills.
No, that was a wild game.
And I think that they're not going to lose another home game especially against a division rival, especially against a team that's been looking a little weak. If you really look at him, Aaron Rodgers has been spending a lot of time on his derriere, on his butt, if you will. So I'm going to say that the Chicago Bears come in there and they just steamroll them.
Okay.
Boom.
Will, you got an opinion on this one?
Well, here, I do no research before I do any of my picks. They used to call me the Swami until that fat-ass piece of shit Chris Berman took that name from me. Now they just call me the Wizard. But, yeah, as much as I want to get a loss out of the Bears this week. I don't think that's going to happen. I think the Packers, they got a guy named Jordy on their team. I mean, that's a girl's name.
Jordy Hendrick-Seavey.
Yeah, Jordy
Hendrick-Seavey, and then they got the guy with the long hair. I mean, it's just not. They're no good. They're no good this year. That's all.
Which guy with the long hair?
Clay Matthews. Or did he cut it, man?
They got A.J. Hawk, too.
They got A.J. Hawk with the long hair.
He's got long, fruity-looking locks, too.
Man,
He's had the Farrah Fawcett-looking,
So we got two for the Bears and one for. I'm the one holding out for the Packers.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I might be sitting pretty or looking like a dope.
Either or.
Or both. I could be a pretty looking dope, like Jessica Simpson.
Oh, she's a pretty looking dope.
I know. Anyways, up next, we got another divisional battle. We got, this time in the AFC South, we got the struggling Tennessee Titans at 1-3 going to the onward and upward Indianapolis Colts at 1-2. Who do you got? Who do you got in this one, guys? I'll go last.
I got Indianapolis. Indianapolis had a slow start.
That
Andrew-
tough two.
Andrew Luck, the Lady Luck wasn't in his favor the first couple games.
They
of the
played
season.
some good teams too. It was
Yeah,
tough.
they played Denver, who was a good team, and then they played who's a good
Philadelphia.
team, Philadelphia, who was a really good team right now. And I don't know, they won last week, and I think they're going to win again. I think Andrew Luck is the Neanderthal quarterback of the future. I think he's going to bring the human race back many steps. But me play football, me play good. That's the Andrew Luck Neanderthal sort of mind frame when you look like that and you are a lesser being.
Sure. I gotta agree with Joe on this one. I gotta pick Indianapolis as well. The Titans just haven't been any good since they got rid of Pac-Man Jones and Doug Collins.
Doug Collins was a big loss to them.
Yeah, rest in peace, Doug Collins.
Yeah, I gotta go Colts.
Pretty cut and dry. I like the Colts too.
Yeah.
They had a tough start, two tough games to open up the season, but I think they're going to go onwards and upwards, and they're going to, restake their claim as the belle of the ball in the AFC South.
Cro-Magnon quarterback.
Cro-Magnon quarterback is the
Yeah.
belle of the ball in this
Yeah.
AFC South.
That's how I'm looking at it.
Next, we travel all the way to jolly old England, to Wimbledon Stadium in jolly old England. Home of Phil Collins. We've got Ryan Tannenbaum and the 1-2 Miami Dolphins facing the dear old silver and black 0-3, coming off of a tragic loss at Foxborough Stadium against the New England Patriots, where that bat-faced Vince Wilfork, we could have had that one, Joe.
I'm not happy about this for many reasons. Number one, the Oakland Raiders are one of the teams in the NFL that are the rebels against the NFL. And they always have been, and Papa Al started them as the rebels against the NFL. And this counts as a home game towards the Oakland Raiders. Their home game is going to take place in Wembley Stadium over in jolly old England, if you will, the country that we left to come to America to start this beautiful country that we have here.
1856.
We got rebels going back and being forced to play a home game in a country that they're not happy with. They got to fly all the way from Oakland, California, over to England, Europe, to play against the Miami Dolphins, who they got an easy trip from Miami to England. You go right over the ocean. You don't got to go over a whole continent, then the ocean. That's like, you go from Miami to England, you watch 2 movies. You go from Oakland to Miami, that's like 4 to 5 in-flight movies.
Yeah.
And I can only watch some Jennifer Lawrence movie, Hunger Games 7, or
Silver Linings Playbook.
yeah, exactly. I can only watch so many of
Winter's
those.
Bone.
Winter's Bone before I lose my mind,
I'm
and,
gonna
and I don't want to ever play
Probably
football
not.
again.
About
And I'm upset about this.
women and
I picked the Miami Dolphins, and I'm upset, and I picked this in protest against the NFL, against Roger Goodell, against everything that he does, and he doesn't stand up for the teams in the NFL, and he doesn't stand up for freedom. And back to you, Ron Harvey.
I'm going to have to disagree. Oakland Raiders, I think they're going to be motivated. It was a close loss to the Patriots. I think the Oakland Raiders, they started off the season kind of flat against the Jets. They lost to the Jets barely, and they went down, and then they're up a little bit. Whereas the Miami Dolphins, they started up here, they beat the Patriots, and then they lost the Bills, and then they got beat up by the Chiefs in Miami.
The Queefs.
The Queefs. I think the Oakland Raiders, they're going to be motivated. They're going to be playing against a crappy quarterback in Ryan Tannenbaum. I think they're going to get their first victory of the year in front of Jimmy Page and Phil Collins.
Roger Daltrey.
Roger Daltrey's going to be
The
there.
ghost of Keith Moon.
The ghost of Keith Moon. They're going to be, the spirit of rock and roll will lift the Raiders to their first victory of the 2014 NFL season.
I will agree with you that if the ghost of John Bonham makes an experience that no one has ever seen before,
If the ghost of John Bonham, if he haunts Khalil Mack,
and he drives him to work harder, I feel like the Raiders will win. But I feel like if that doesn't happen, then I got to go with the Miami Dolphins, and that breaks my heart every time.
Goal was Oakland.
Does Oakland still have Sebastian Janikowski?
Yes, they
Yes, they do. He scored a couple field goals.
We'll go down for Oakland.
Good man. All right. Speaking of home teams, up next we've got the Detroit Lions and the Donkey Kong Sioux, and the Detroit Lions traveling to New York, New Jersey, to MetLife Stadium to play Geno Smith and the New York Football Jets. Not to be confused with the Winnipeg Hockey Jets.
and the Jetabakas
And the Jetabakas.
And the actual airplanes.
and
Actual airplanes. The
DC-12s.
So who do you got in this one, Will? I think I know the answer between the Detroit Lions and the New York Jetabakas.
I'm a big homer, but even beyond that, I think all the pieces are clicking over there in Detroit right now. I think this is going to be a blowout. I think Geno Smith is going to go home crying. I think they're going to be fucking 3 or 4 quarterbacks deep before they give up and realize they got nothing against that defense.
Rex Ryan is going to be red. His face is going to be red as a lobster.
The only thing that's going to get is going to be wrecked.
I get what you're saying. I do. I see where you're going with that.
Calvin Johnson, 20 touchdowns.
I got to go with Starscream myself, Calvin Johnson. I think that Detroit, nobody wants to deal with Detroit right now. Detroit's it's a wasteland, and it's uncontrollable, and you can't even try to contain Detroit. And I think that Starscream is going to go for. I think he gets 2 touchdowns that game.
Couple touchdowns.
Geno Love goes home crying.
I think right down the line, this is a pretty clear pick. I think we all go with the Detroit Lions. This one.
Yeah.
The next one, there are a lot of teams in the NFL. We don't know if they're good or they're bad. They look crappy one week, then they look good the next week. The Pittsburgh Steelers are one of those teams. They looked awful against the Ravens 2 weeks ago, but they beat the crap out of the Panthers, which nobody saw. Nobody saw coming. Nobody saw the Pittsburgh Steelers.
They had a tight one against Cleveland.
A tight one against Cleveland, barely eked it out. They've been so inconsistent, but this week they host the worst team in the NFL so far, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think they're starting a quarterback who won the Pop Warner Championship last year.
He lost it.
Lost the Pop Warner.
He came in second.
So Pittsburgh is hosting the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I even though as inconsistent as Pittsburgh's been, I don't see any of us picking against the Steelers. Is anybody picking the Bucs here?
No, I'm picking the Pittsburgh Steelers on this to come in, steal curtain, crush down on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yep.
And cut and dry, done.
Yeah, Heinz Ketchup Field. So yeah, I think it's going to be. I don't think anybody outside of Pittsburgh is going to be watching this game, but they'll be happy watching it. You're from Pittsburgh.
No, my cousin's. He lives in Tampa. He's already packed it up. He's already packed his bags. He packed his bags. He's set. He's ready to go. He's gone.
Yeah, he's waiting for Tampa Bay Lightning.
He's waiting for the Tampa Bay Lightning. He's waiting for the first-round draft pick in next year's NFL draft.
So we got Pittsburgh down the board here.
Yeah, Pittsburgh across the board.
Next week, one of the big games this week, we got Cam Newton, Superman, traveling all the way up to Baltimore, Maryland to play the Ravens, the controversial Baltimore Ravens, in a big early clash. Who do you got? Carolina Panthers or the Baltimore Ravens, Joe?
I'm going with the Baltimore Ravens right now just because I think the Ravens at home, they got a lot to prove. They lost Ray Rice for, whatever. Ray Rice was involved in something. We don't really know what it was. There hasn't been any videotape of it yet, so we don't really quite know what's going on.
We tried to get it.
We tried to get it, but we were denied access to it, so we don't really know what's going on. We think he might have the flu. So Ray Rice, not involved in the game, but I think they're going to play extra hard to make up for the missing Ray Rice, and I think that the Baltimore Ravens will take this one.
Well, yeah,
Ravens are tough at home.
Yep. So the Ravens are tough at home. And the Ravens are missing Ray Rice, and the Carolina Panthers are missing Matt Hardy, who's also had
Matt Hardy got he got I believe he was in a fender bender, and he has a sprained ankle and can't play in this week's game. So he is also a non-factor. They have a really good defense. They do have Superman, but I feel like they have Return of Superman. They don't have
Superman for the Quest for Peace.
Yeah, they have Superman for the Quest for Peace. They don't have like the real Superman.
I think I'm gonna go with Superman for the Quest for Peace in this one. Call me an iconoclast, but I like the Panthers. I don't think they've played. The Ravens have a good defense, but I don't think they played as good of a quarterback as Cam Newton, the Quest for Peace. I think I like the Panthers by a little bit in this one.